name's Emma. I'm putting my life online. And since I promised my friends and family an update video all about what I did while I was in Namibia on my trip, I thought, let's talk about London. I'm just kidding. London was in fact part of my trip. It was actually how I spent the beginning and the end of my trip. And you know what? I just thought I might as well start there because it seems to be the thing that's the easiest to talk about and the thing that's the easiest to actually put into words. So here's a video all about my time, or times, in London. Let's go.
On our way to Namibia, we had a 9-hour layover. This was actually pretty great because it meant we could have a super quick walking tour hosted by our awesome team leader. We got off the flight, checked our bags in a storage locker, and hopped on the tube. Yep. It was early morning London, fresh off an international flight, and I'm not sure many of us were entirely with it during that whole tube ride. Once we got to central London, we just started walking, and London welcomed us with a nice example of what it's known for. Drizzling gray weather. There was not a dry patch of day on that layover, but hey, when in Rome, or London, I guess, right? I think we look like tourists. I think people can tell. Yeah. I was silly. My raincoat was in the front pocket of my suitcase, which I thought would mean easy access. It was my checked suitcase. So I was in my designated plain hoodie and leggings. I stayed super dry. We saw most of the must-see sights from the street, which meant when I came back, I could spend more time in museums or, walking around and seeing other things, which was really cool. In an attempt to stay out of the rain and make sure we all came home with adequate London souvenirs, we did spend some time in Harrods, and it was really fun exploring and, just having some fun with some new friends. And before we knew it, we were off again.
So then I went to Namibia, and you know that was an amazing experience. And suddenly, wow, I'm on a flight back to London. That's actually when the group started to split up. And going from a group that was no less than 23 people any given time to a group of, I think, 6 or 8 of us who were staying in the airport. Some were touring Europe, some were staying in London, and then just to me. Now that was really weird, but little old me got myself through the airport and everything was fine. It did just take some adjustments. So I'm one of the lucky ones that got to either stay in London or keep traveling throughout Europe. And I'm that lucky because my childhood best friend actually lives in London with her boyfriend, and they had a pretty comfy couch that they were okay with me staying on for what I'm calling my 5-day layover. So that's where I was staying. It was great because it kept the cost down, and I got to reconnect with an old friend, which is always awesome. So after I said goodbye to all of my new friends, I was able to find my way alone back to that luggage place that we used the first day, and they actually not only store your luggage, but they'll actually ship it throughout London, or I guess courier it throughout London, and they were able to take it all the way downtown to King's Cross, London for later that afternoon.
So after spending a little bit of time in the airport, reorienting my stuff, doing some real life things like caffeinating and answering emails, I decided it was time to get going, so off into London I went. That first day in London, I was really still in Namibia in my head, so being in London suddenly was super overwhelming. I did get to King's Cross. and just walk around for a little while, I found myself at the library and looked at an exhibit there, which was, you know, cool and unexpected. And I ended up just sitting outside that library, reading, finishing my journal entries from Namibia, and just kind of soaking in the transition. Then I got myself back to King's Cross and met up with my bestie.
Boyfriend and I all went to dinner, so I just enjoyed reconnecting with her, getting to meet her boyfriend, and them showing me around a little bit of their neighborhood. And then I was tired, so I just went to bed. And day 2 is where more of the exploring London starts.
So on this day, I woke up and allowed myself a bit of a slow day to get going. We had been so go in Namibia that, you know, some time to chill was necessary. I looked up what to do in London, and of course the changing of guards was on the list, and this was the only day I was going to get to go, so off I went, surprisingly very rushed. So, just walking away from Buckingham Palace now. Watch the changing of the guards, I think. Truth be told, I was just a member of a crowd. I couldn't really see anything, and it's kind of funny knowing how many people just stand there to watch something as simple as people marching and marching away, and then a gate closing. But hey, I was one of them, so I can't blame people. It's absolutely gorgeous. Not a cloud in the sky, one of those days. I wish I wore warmer clothes though. A little bit too used to the weather in Namibia. But I'm gonna go decide what to do next. After that, I walked around. I went to the Tower of London, but didn't go in. Whoops. After that, just took a short trip on the Thames. Thought it would be kind of nice to be on a boat again. It was really interesting to see London from that perspective. Wandered myself into Tate Modern, where the exhibits were interesting, to say the least. Eventually, I got myself back to my friend's house. Her birthday was the next day, and mine had just passed, so we decided to go out for some drinks and enjoy some good conversation. I really missed her, and it was really nice getting to catch up again.
There was one thing in London that I really wanted to see, and it's kind of random, and that's the Maida Vale subway station, or tube station. It's a little bit out of the way on one line that doesn't really easily connect with a bunch of other things, and there's nothing really above it, but I wanted to see the subway station itself, and that's because the movie About Time has a really, really cute video montage of the main characters sort of falling in love throughout their journeys through the Maida Vale station, and I don't know, that's probably like my favorite romance, and I just love that scene. and so I thought I had to make sure I saw that tube station. It was fun, and I got to say I was there, and that is one thing that I went to London, as strange as it is, being like, I need to see this. So I'm glad I checked.
As long as stars are above you, longer if I can. How long will I need you? As long as the seasons meet too. How long will I be with you? As long as the sea is bound to wash upon the sand. How long will I want you? As long as you want.
I don't know if it's my fascination with that particular stop or something else about it, but I kind of fell in love with the whole underground in London. I just love the different stations, the sort of mosaic designs in a lot of them, and everything. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I bought a shirt, and this was kind of like my big souvenir for myself because I just really enjoyed the underground. I think I also really liked the freedom it provided me as a solo tourist, that it was that easy to navigate and I could just get around wherever I wanted to be. So I did spend a lot of time going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on different underground routes because I didn't really plan out my trip.
After stopping by Maida Vale, it was my accidental day for museums. I went to the Natural History Museum, and the Science Museum. I did miss Victoria and Albert Hall, which was a little disappointing. And I also did some souvenir shopping, so of course I had to go back to Harrods for some tea to bring home. The next day, I decided it was time to travel east, and I hopped back on the Thames to go to Greenwich. This is the only museum experience I actually paid for. I toured the Cutty Sark, and the National Observatory because for some reason I really wanted to see the International Dateline. I don't know, it appealed to the inner nerd in me, and it was a really interesting sight to see, and it was interesting to learn a little bit more of the history.
So for my second last day, and my last real full day in London, I actually did have something pre-booked, and that was a bus tour to go see Stonehenge and the city of Bath with the Roman Bath tour. And I'm not going to tell you about that in this video because this is a video all about London. No, in all honesty, I have so much to say and so much video footage of that little trip that I think it'll be better a little short video by itself because this thing is already getting really long and I don't want to subject you to that. Here's a few kind of nice clips, a little intro into what I saw. It's pretty gorgeous, isn't it? It was an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed that opportunity to get out of London. So if you're spending a few days in London, I do really recommend like looking around and seeing what sort of day trips are available, because it was just beautiful, that countryside, and I mean Stonehenge is just amazing in itself. So then I came home from Stonehenge, well, home to my friend's house, and the next morning was my last day. And funny story about how I had to spend my last morning in London. Ugh. So my last day here, and of course my bag is going to be overweight. So instead of getting in so many more touring or anything like that, I actually have to go run to a store and pick up a little carry-on, because I had originally brought like a little duffel bag and donated it, and turns out I shouldn't have. So in order to actually be able to get on the plane and not pay ridiculous overweight fees, we're gonna go shopping. And whatever, I get a new gym bag, I guess, and I get to pick out one that I like, so we'll make the most of it. Found a bag. It's a little bit ridiculous. Basically, it's a store like Winners, TK Maxx or something. It'll work. Just time to get all of the rest of this in there and get myself organized to head out. I did it. So I'm allowed one check bag that can't be over 50 pounds, and that's like 49. So that one's good. And then I'm allowed a carry-on and a personal item. Now, the thing I love about my Lulu bag is this, which I'm going to be using as my purse as I get to the airport, just attaches right here. So it all counts as one backpack, which is a personal bag. And then before I knew it, I was back on a plane, and then I was back home in Canada, or at least in Toronto, where my mom picked me up and took me back home. So that was my time in London. And I know some people are going to say, Emma, why didn't you plan it out? Emma, why didn't you go in some of these places? I know I missed some key museums and some other key historical sites. And to tell you the truth, I just didn't really want to see them. It's really interesting. I mean, before going to London, I knew I hadn't planned anything out, and I figured I'd spend the first little bit planning and listing off what I wanted to see. I knew that we were going to be very go, go, go in Namibia, so I didn't want to. Continuity is hard when your memory card runs out of space. But as I was saying, I knew that in Namibia we'd be very go, 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 and I didn't want to force myself because of plans to be go, go, go in London. I wanted to give myself some breathing room. And I did really enjoy that breathing room and that free time that I sort of allowed myself. But I also think I really just enjoyed experiencing London, and I think that's something that I actually developed from Namibia. So when I was in London, all I really wanted to do was people watch. I wanted to exist with the people and just see what was going on. I didn't want to surround myself in touristy places with people and their cameras and the pushing and the shoving. I hated the changing of the guards, just throwing that out there. So yeah, I think that may have contributed to why I like the tube so much, because I could just watch people going about their day-to-day lives, and I just wanted to feel like I was part of that, which is a little hard because, you know, I'm there by myself, I'm not with a group, and I'm not really open to talking to strangers, but I did enjoy my time just observing and wandering, and, you know, if that meant I backtracked and I didn't go through the most efficient routes, if that meant that I missed some places because I spent too long somewhere else, I'm okay with that. Another reason why I had a hard time stomaching some of the more touristy things was the cost. I was coming from Namibia, where 10 rand was $1. And then to go to London, where every price I saw on a tag, I had to basically multiply by 1.5. So it was really hard to digest, where in Namibia it was so easy to spend money. I also knew that the money I was spending was going to good causes and good people. To, on the flip side, spend more than the price tag on what kind of feels like frivolous experiences after something like volunteering. So it was really hard to justify some of the expenses. As you can see, I only spent money on one museum experience. I did buy souvenirs and things for gifts and things to take home, but I didn't want to pay money just to go into a museum and to go in to see things when I could see so much outside of them as well. And I think the final reason why I didn't want to go into some of the museums or go to some of the historical experiences was that it's really hard to stomach. I mean, my friend's boyfriend made a comment, "Oh, didn't you go to the museums to see everything that we stole?" We, meaning England, he is English. And I know he was kidding, and they are both very great people. So not bashing him, he was saying a joke and it was funny. But what he said was really true though. And I did find it hard to walk through some of the history that I did. I skipped over certain exhibits or certain museums because coming from a country where
Colonization.
apartheid government led to separation, segregation, it's really hard to then go days later to museums that only exist because of
Colonization.
And it's really hard to reconcile the two, and I'm not trying to sit here and be preachy, but I think that's why the stuff I really enjoyed is the stuff that doesn't have ties to anything like that. So I loved Stonehenge, and Stonehenge just exists
Colonization.
something that I could enjoy the history of without, I don't want to say being brought down, but without being brought down by what I had just learned. And I was so glad that I have learned what I've learned because it makes me question things. So I didn't really want to go throughout London and go through these museums that celebrated things I was now questioning, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah, I missed parts of London, and I'm sure there are parts that I could have gone back to see and that I may have skipped only because of the cost, or may have skipped just because I didn't have enough time. And there are parts that I skipped that I may never want to see, and that's okay. I had an amazing time. I loved the freedom. I loved reconnecting with my old friend. I loved what I did see and just being able to walk around. I haven't mentioned yet in this video, but it was beautiful weather. I was so lucky. It rained for like 2 seconds during my 5-day stay, excluding the first day where it just rained continuously. But yeah, I had an amazing time. It probably wasn't the London experience that some people were thinking I would have, but it was a London experience that I created for myself, and you know, I really loved it. So, you know, the drill is, go down below, give me some comments. Have you ever been to London? What are some things you think I did miss? What are some things that I saw that you absolutely loved? If you have never been, why do you want to go and what do you want to see? Hit that subscribe button as well if you want to see, you know, my Stonehenge video and more videos about Namibia, as well as more videos about my pre-med journey. Give this video a like if you liked it, a dislike if you didn't, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.